Hi everyone, welcome, thank you all for coming. Welcome to another episode of Testimony Thursdays. As you can tell, I'm not Aubrey Djauhari. I'm Solomon Nguyen, your one-time host, the shorter than most, born on the West Coast. How y'all doing today? Today we have a very special guest, and you know her, you love her, she's the queen of the short people. That's actually what her name translates to, I don't know why. It's the normal host of Testimony Thursdays, Aubrey Djauhari!
Hi everyone!
Alright.
I did not expect that introduction, but I love it.
Hey, this is what I had to think of something so different. That way, I don't know, I just had to. I was in my room late at night just typing. Okay, before we get started, first I just gotta ask, what's it like being on the other end?
I honestly feel super chill. I'm actually better as an interviewee than interviewer, because usually I'm the interviewee. Like, I love interviews. It's like my strange addiction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the camera loves you, so I guess that works out. Okay, so many of you know Aubrey as a happy girl in love with the Lord and involved in all things Catholic. And you've been going to St Anthony's your whole life?
Yep, born and raised.
Oh, there we go. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, however, she's not only the host of Testimony Thursdays, but also runs the parish Instagram account and helps Father Justin manage all his social medias. Yeah, he's not doing that. So, well, how did you make the shift from cradle Catholic, born and raised, to where you are now?
Okay, so I guess I should give some background. I went to St Anthony of Padua Elementary School, and that was a chill time, kind of a feisty child, not gonna lie. Didn't really know what the point was in life. I just knew I watched Pokemon at 3, Pretty Cure at 3:30, and that was the only routine in my life. And then I went to high school. I went to LFA, also known as Little Flower Academy. And that's an all-girls school. Still wasn't super Catholic because I still went to church and stuff, and my parents are super Catholic, and so I just kind of went along with it. Honestly, sounds bad. Didn't really care. I was like, I just don't want to go to hell. That was the thing. And then throughout my high school years, I figured out that I'm like, I'm not a bad actress. And so I was like, oh, but I could do all these things that everyone else is doing, but still go to church. Because I thought that was right. I don't know what was going through my brain. But yeah, and then it started to, it started from little things, like gossiping, especially, okay, you're in an all-girls school. Rumors spread like wildfire. And so, you wanted to fit in. It's kind of a natural thing, And so I was with a group of friends, and I just wanted to be liked by everyone, not gonna lie. Kind of super insecure. I thought I was secure, I kind of faked it till I made it, so I was super confident. I was like, I wanted to be that girl, if you know what I mean. And yeah, so throughout my high school years, that was the main thing. I honestly had no idea who I was just because I was pleasing everybody, so I was literally changing myself for every single person. I don't know how I did it. That scares me that I can do that. And then I also changed myself for people at the church because obviously I didn't want to not be liked by people at the church. So that was every single second of the day, I would alter myself to fit whatever person was in front of me. And yeah, and then my grade 12 year, oh, what a lovely year. In hindsight, it was a lovely year. The first, big event that happened, so just more context, I was in chamber choir all my high school years. It was kind of my thing, how everyone has their thing. I was a choir kid. And in grade 12, we were supposed to go to Carnegie Hall. And the summer before grade 12, I worked my butt off. I really did. I worked at Lindt, the chocolate factory, and I worked long shifts so I can get $3,000 to go to Carnegie Hall. So I was gonna pay for it myself. And guess what? Didn't get into chamber choir. My teacher was like, "You're not good enough." And that stung. Like, that stung, and that hits hard even today. But you know what? Blessing in disguise. Because that's when I started getting involved with Opus Dei. And I was actually always involved in Opus Dei, but then I had this huge gap because I was in cadets, and then the times clashed. So when I quit cadets, then I started going to Opus Dei. And at the same time that I didn't get into chamber, my friends were like, we were kind of growing apart, which, to be honest with you, didn't really know why. And then when I started to go to Opus Dei, and I started to kind of like, because of that event that happened, I was trying to like seek answers almost. So I was asking God, because I knew God was there. Like, I went to church, like I still knew, but I only went to him when I needed something. And so I started to learn more and seek answers, and the people I was around kind of made me change almost. Like I didn't feel the need to like put on an image. And that's when my friends started to notice a lot more changes. It was very, very sad. Like, I definitely cried a lot and slept a lot because you get tired from crying. And yeah, so that happened. Kind of lost all my friends. Like, I still had other friends for sure, but then you kind of know like who like the real friends are, because they stick around with you throughout everything, and once you put off that image, they still stick around with you. So really also a blessing in disguise. And so I went on a super tangent, but so with Opus Dei, there's this university conference where we go to Rome, and the cost was $3,000, same as the New York one. So I ended up going to that, which was really good because I learned so much about my faith, and I made lots of new friends. And yeah, I remember Holy Thursday, we did that tradition where you visit 7 parishes, and it's so easy in Rome because there's like a church in like every corner. It's like the McDonald's of America. It's so great. And having Eucharistic adoration that whole night was so beautiful. And I think that was when I realized he's right there. Like, I just needed to reach out, or not even, I just needed to be like, just stay still and like be yourself, and he'll like take you and love you so much. And that's when I realized, and that's when it finally clicked. When I finally clicked, I was like, it took so long. It took like 17 years, and I don't know. And then I finally found Jesus, and yeah, then I grew really fast. I feel like I started to find more answers and more answers, and especially going to university, started to get involved in CCO, Catholic Christian Outreach, met some amazing people, and yeah, so losing my friends, but gaining like so many more that helped me grow towards sainthood. So yeah, that's summary of my story.
Wow. Thank you.
With lots of tangents, I'm sorry.
It's fine. Tangents is spice. Yeah, thank you. I think something that resonated with me, and I think will resonate with a lot of people, is the fact that you felt you had to act, you had to perform for a recognition, for love, for to keep your friends, essentially. Mm-hmm. So can I just ask, like, what really pushed you to really accept, or to, I don't know, not care about the other guy, like your old, like you care about them, like you pray for them and all that, but like to not, like, to be okay with not being friends with them anymore, because I'm assuming they were your friends for like all of high school, then they just kind of popped out of your life.
Yeah, no, especially like, it was so funny. There's something about girls and like planning their future together, so I feel like that stung the most. But coming to terms with it, I feel like since when that happened, I was still super like, I didn't have my reconversion yet. Like, I didn't feel God in any sense or way. Like, he probably was working so hard, but I just didn't notice it. So yeah, I dwelt in a lot of the sadness. I would say like a good like solid month, and I didn't deal with it well. Like, looking back on it, I should have dealt with it a lot better. I cried a ton, didn't eat a lot, slept a lot, and I feel like my studies also dropped. But I think my main thing was trying to focus on myself. That sounds kind of weird, but like, especially like applying for colleges, because it's grade 12, and I knew I wanted to go to Corpus Christi College, so I applied for a scholarship, and so I did other things throughout that year. So in grade 12, then I got a job to work for a social enterprise, and then I became marketing director for like an organization. So I really just dove into doing a lot of things. I always loved doing a lot of things, but that was when I started to make changes. I was like, okay, well, if I want this to be implemented in the school before I leave, I'm gonna do it. So I just started to take more risks, which actually is really good. Like, I think that's a way to deal with it, but then I also put myself with more stress, and I didn't care for myself as much. I was more turned to like, okay, I need all these distractions, and I didn't deal with the root of the problem. I think it mostly settled in afterwards, like I want to say in the summer, or like even like beginning of university, because I remember most of my old friends, they go to UBC, which is close to Corpus Christi. So when I would hang out at UBC, I would see them, and I would still like feel like crying, because it's like, people always say like breaking up with friends is like worse than a breakup, and yes it is. And you see them, and it's kind of like you're not mad at them, you're just sad of like that relationship that was lost. But I think with like settling, I guess, or what's the word, not settling, like kind of being okay with not being their friends anymore, you just gotta take the memories you have of them and like enjoy them. You had good memories with them for sure, but also like look how you've grown, because a lot of people, I feel like they don't see how much they've grown. Like, if I looked at myself in like grade 10, like I would have been, I was like, yikes. that was a time. And people don't see how much they grow from having only that friends for a season of your life, because people are sometimes just for seasons, and God places them in your life for you to grow sometimes. So I feel like that was a main thing. Look at yourself, see how much you've grown.
Yeah, so you mentioned CCO was a big part of your life, or a big part of you becoming more on fire. And now she's actually part of the exec team at Corpus Christi or UBC. Is it the same thing?
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing.
So she's part of the exec team within your first year of college.
Yeah.
What's up? Okay. So just curious about how you kind of became the exec, and like, this is also not sponsored by CCO. I just got.
It could be like.
like, if you guys want to get in on this,
I should have worn CCO merch, Mr. Chance.
Okay, but just curious how you got into that, and like how big has CCO really been for you to explode? Because it sounds like it wasn't really until CCO where you were like, boo.
Yeah, I feel like this is exactly what it was. Yeah, I feel like, okay, throughout the summer, I like became more content with myself. I feel like my identity with the Lord, actually still struggling a little, but like I was genuinely like joyful, not just like happy. I was like joyful. So I went into college being like super happy, super chill, making new friends. And then it came like Imagine Day, Imagine Day where it's like, where it's like, so it's like a bunch of clubs and lined up on like the main mall. I think it's main mall. I'm very bad with directions. Main mall of UBC. And you go down, and then you like, these clubs try to come at you, like, join our club. But I literally had like one thing in mind, CCO. Because even if I wasn't super like Catholic throughout my high school years, there would still be like CCO Summit. Do you know what that is? It's like praise and worship.
I'm not gonna lie. I have no idea anything what CCO does.
That's fine.
That's why I'm asking the question.
Okay, so there's these summits. The summits are praise and worship nights, and they have it on different parishes. And so I went to a few, and there's like a lot of my friends who were in CCO, so I was like screaming at this point, and I was like, yeah, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so hype. And that's how I got into it. I kind of dove like head first. Like I literally couldn't care about anything else. I'm like, I have nothing to lose. So I was like, let's do it. And then I just kind of used my spare time. Like it took a lot of like managing my time. Like this is where you study, this is where you do corpus things, and this is where you do church things, and this is where you do CCO things. So like in between classes, I would like go to IKB, which is like a building or IKB, a building where there's this place called Ike's, and that's where CCO people hang out. And so I would go there and like hang out. Also, I love the people there. They just make me so happy because they're also on fire for the faith. And yeah, so I got involved and I became a faith study leader right away because I already took growth. So I took discovery, source, and growth when the impactors came to St. Anthony's. Mm-hmm. But then I don't remember anything from growth. I remembered everything from discovery and source. So I retook growth, and while I was retaking growth, I also led some girls in discovery, which is really scary, not gonna lie. But I feel like that really helped me grow in my faith because I feel like you learn, actually I know, you learn more when you're teaching it more often than taking it. UVic mission, let me tell you, a time and a half. So fun. But actually when I went to UVic mission, I was in like a state of desolation, I think. I was just like sad. But you know how like you're sad, but you have like joy in you, but you're just like sad. I don't know. Does that make sense?
A little bit.
Like you can be like joyful and be sad, and you could also be joyful and be happy.
Yes. Okay.
Right. Okay, so I was joyful and sad. And usually I'm super extroverted and kind of out there all the time. But I feel like I was very reserved because I was like, I don't know how to deal with this sadness. And so we actually went to do outreach. Scariest thing of my life. I've never done outreach like that before. You go up to strangers and you share like this booklet with them. If you know, it's called the Ultimate Relationship Booklet. And it basically talks about, Jesus wants a relationship with you. And you are going up to strangers you do not know. It is very scary. But I did it a couple times. I was actually really proud of myself. I was like, wow, I did it. And so it was a really beautiful day. And then at the nighttime, we had something called night fever, which is basically summit, but like bigger. And like you invite more people in, like the strangers that you outreach to, you invite them at the end to come to this big event. And I was supposed to do outreach that night again. But before we were doing outreach, we were going to do adoration. Adoration is fine. Adoration actually usually makes me cry, especially since that like reconversion period, because then you feel like the love and he's right there. So I had this great love for adoration. But this adoration, I was crying a little bit, super normal. I was like, it's fine. I like get up or going to get up, and I just felt like super like overwhelmed with love, and then I started to realize a bunch of stuff, and I just could not stop crying. And okay, it wasn't even pretty crying. Like it wasn't like tears. I was like heaving, like I couldn't breathe. And so that was a moment. I remember my friend telling me afterwards, he was like, Aubrey, like I heard you like gasping for air, and I'm like, yeah, that was me. So I cried for like the whole event, like the whole event.
Wow.
And I think it felt like I was almost like drowning, which is also like, I think I was like fighting with myself in a sense. Yeah, it's like a really powerful moment. But afterwards, the amount of like peace I felt and just like happiness, like pure bliss, was amazing. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. So that's amazing, really amazing. So can I just ask, like, how how much is Eucharistic adoration, Eucharistic devotion been, like, obviously you have very key moments, but like now, how would you say it's been very key in your growth, but how would you say right now for your prayer life, spirituality, how would you say it's played now?
How's it played now? Yeah. So if you don't know, I sing at times during praise and worship.
Wednesday night adoration.
Yeah. Come.
Please.
Yeah, it really helps me, especially if it's weekly or monthly, because sometimes it's easy to forget. Like, I'm very forgetful, like insanely forgetful. And yes, faith isn't like, it's not a feeling. Like sometimes I heard this thing where it's like facts, faith, and then feeling. Like it shouldn't be based on feeling. But you know, feeling is a part of it. Like my first love language, take your love language test. My first love language is physical touch. And in a sense, it's kind of hard because like God doesn't really like touch you. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't hug you, but there's something about Eucharistic adoration when you're sitting there, like in front of Jesus. It feels like a warm embrace. Like it feels like he's holding you and like nothing can hurt you. And I think that's what keeps me going. Like if I miss Eucharistic adoration, I feel like I have to do it every week. Yeah, I have to do it every week because like I can't make it through the week without Eucharistic adoration. It's something about seeing him there, and also something so tangible, because I always have trouble. Like, yes, I have faith and I pray even if it's not in front of Eucharistic adoration, but there's something about just sitting with Jesus. It's like very personal, and I think that's what keeps me going. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I have this one. What advice do you have to people in high school who are trying to deal with like faking it till they make it, or even in college, or just like trying to really figure out who they are in their faith? Because that sounds like something that you were struggling with a lot. It was just the loneliness, the rejection, and trying to really, and all of that. And I'm going to chalk that up to a lot of high school kind of hormones, but
yes.
But like, what really helped you to get through that?
That's a good question. I wonder if I have solid advice. Let me gather my thoughts. Yeah, it's difficult. It's so difficult. Like,
yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking the question.
A lot of people, like, I know they like fake it, and it's honestly really easy to fake it. Like, it takes a lot of effort and work. And like, when some people forget like that I was like that, so they're like telling me all these issues and stuff, and they're like, oh, but you don't understand. I'm like, I've been there, done that. But it's, finding your identity is something that takes time. So my first thing is, it takes a hot minute. It takes a long time. Like, it doesn't happen like this. Like, even today I still struggle like with my identity. Sometimes I have those days where I'm like sitting by myself and I'm like, who am I? Like, ugh. And first and foremost, you have to always remind yourself, like, I'm a daughter of God. Like, that's really cool, dude. If you think about that, that is so cool. Like, you're like, I'm a child of God. Like, he loves me so much. Like, he knows me by like every hair on my head. Like, he knows what's in your heart before you know what's in your heart. Like, that's insane. And you literally cannot run away from his love. Like, he will love you to pieces, even if you do something wrong, which you should try not to do things that are wrong, of course. And so, yes, it's a process for sure. And reminding yourself that you're a child of God. And that's like if you're in the faith. But if for some reason somebody's watching this and they're not in the faith, or they haven't found kind of their grounding in the faith, try first to explore kind of the faith, because it really was the rock and the constant. God is definitely always a constant in my life, as someone who I can always count on, because if it's true friends, they can only be for a season of your life. And people too, for sure. And so like family and God is always a huge constant in your life. So I would say don't ground your identity in like your family, because that can also change. They're also human. But you know, like spend time with your family because you grew up with them, so you can find your identity through them. And yeah, so knowing you're a child of God, and also kind of being okay with yourself. That sounds a little weird, but like your little quirks, a lot of people like hide them because it's not normal, you know. But I would say like own up to them. There is nothing more beautiful than somebody who can be authentically themselves. And I didn't see that until like the last year. Yeah, but it's a really beautiful thing, you know. And especially to, this is like super off track, but just popped in my head. But especially to like girls, you know how like they want to like impress the guys. I'm saying this with two guys in the room.
No, I would not.
Well,
I was living in a brick building on top of a hill for a while.
You know what? I always forget about that. You just seem way too like, I don't know, normal to me.
Everyone in the seminary is
I'm kidding.
She said it. You heard it here.
I'm totally kidding.
And all the monks too.
Totally kidding. No, I'm friends with a lot of seminarians.
She is.
Yeah, they're all a fun time. Oh my goodness. People who have that misconception?
Oh, yeah, that's a word.
Yeah, misconception about about seminarians and priests. Go watch Father's TikToks and you'll see.
It's funny because it's Father Justin.
I know, it's really funny.
Anyway, sorry, tangents. That was a tangent. Girls are always trying to impress guys.
No, not always. But I feel like deep inside, the desire for a girl. Oh, if you read the book Captivating, yeah, I don't know. I was pointing at you, but it's for the woman's soul.
Solomon, you really need to read this book about women's soul. You know,
some guys do read it.
Maybe to get to know them better for ministry, maybe I'll do it. Yeah. But otherwise, I'm not going to pick it up and be all like, yes, it speaks to my heart. Yes,
there's a guy version called Wild at Heart. Guys,
yeah.
I so recommend those books. It's so good. Captivating made me realize girls, they have this need inside to be delighted in. Doesn't matter by men actually or not. Some people want to, like some girls want to impress other girls, which I feel like that's what I did because there are no guys at my school. It was all girls. But you know, girls, they want to be delighted in. And most people do, you know. Don't you ever like win something and then nobody recognizes it and you're like,
oh,
recognize me, hello. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like normal.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that plays into a part of people trying to like put on a face because they're like, I want to be delighted in.
Yeah.
And so you have to come to that realization. See, there's a lot of realizations that you need to realize. So that's why I said, first and foremost, it's a process. Like you have to be patient with yourself. And I'm saying this from experience because I am not patient. I'm very impatient with everything. I just want things now. But yeah, I had to realize first, it's a process. And I have to be patient because right now it's still a process. But you really can do anything through God.
Amen, sister. Amen.
That means you know that it's wrong and you don't want me to show it. She was just like, yeah, it's just like too graphic and it might be too controversial. And I'm like, the topic of this unit is controversial topics.